and welcome to episode number 70 of the Cheesesteaks and Controllers podcast, presented by Fox PHL The Gambler, 102.5 FM, 1480 AM, iHeartRadio, and wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Music. My name is Jason Finelli, and I am the esports and gaming insider for Fox PHL The Gambler, and I hope you are all having a great week so far. Lots to talk about in the world of esports and video games here this evening. Talk about League of Legends and where that tournament is right now. Talk about a big anniversary that hit today in the world of games, and then we'll get into something fun based on a trailer that dropped earlier Thursday morning. But before we do any of that, let's get into the usual, and that is the 6 in 60 seconds. The final 8 teams are decided as the League of Legends Worlds 2021 group stage ends. Cloud9 emerges from Group A as the lone North American team to advance. Team Spirit wins Dota 2's largest tournament, the International 10, taking home $18.2 million for first place of the record $40 million prize pool. Former Fusion support player Funny Astro has landed with a new team for the 2022 season, announcing that he's joining the Los Angeles Gladiators of the Overwatch League. Meanwhile, Microsoft has announced 2 terabyte and 512 gigabyte Seagate storage expansion cards for the Xbox Series X and S. The 2 terabyte card costs $399.99. Among Us from Inner Sloth will be released on PlayStation and Xbox consoles on December 14th, with crossplay advertised for both versions. And finally, Super Smash Bros. Director Masahiro Sakurai has revealed how Sora from Kingdom Hearts made it into Smash Ultimate via his most recent weekly column in Famitsu magazine in Japan, citing a chance encounter with a Disney executive as the catalyst for the edition. Those are your 6 in 60 seconds. And as always, the 6 in 60 seconds are brought to you by the sponsor of Cheesesteaks and Controllers, that is Ghost Shaver. The Ghost Shaver is designed to feel like an extension of your arm, allowing the user to reach anywhere on the head, face, or body. The precision cutting system gives you a close and smooth shave every single time, with 5 different rotary flex action super thin blades and a patented handle design that fits into the palm of your hand precisely. Go to ghostshaver.com to check things out and get yours. That's Ghost Shaver, a shave above the rest. Yes, there we are with the 6 in 60 seconds for the week. That article by Masahiro Sakurai in the Weekly Famitsu is very fascinating, just to be able to see behind the curtain and see how those negotiations happen, how a chance encounter, just to happen to see this Disney executive at a 2019 award show, he said, and then suddenly we're getting Sora from Kingdom Hearts and Super Smash Bros. He was the all-time most requested character in Smash Bros. History. Just a really cool peek behind the way the games work. And I'm sad that weekly column will be ending next week after 600 and some straight weeks of writing those columns for Famitsu Mag. But first, we're going to get into our first big topic of the evening, and that is League of Legends. That is right, we are into the knockout stages. The final bracket of League of Legends Worlds 2021 is about to begin. Actually, by the time this podcast goes out at 9 a.m. on Friday, it will have already begun. The first match currently scheduled for 8 a.m. Friday morning, Philadelphia time. It is taking place over in Reykjavik, Iceland, so I guess the time difference there, probably somewhere in the 5-hour, 6-hour range. So it'll be the afternoon there, but 8 a.m. bright and early for us in Philadelphia. Was a very interesting group stage in Worlds this year. A couple of big upsets that really threw some people through a loop. I know there's one in particular in Group A that I would like to talk about with you right now. Let's actually get right into the group's standings by the time all things were done. Now, if you remember my talk with Emily Rand a couple weeks ago leading up to League of Legends play-ins, we said that Group A was going to be the group of death. Group A was going to be the one where if you got out of Group A, your chances to win Worlds went way, way up because it had some absolute titans in that group. We also thought that Cloud9 would have no chance in hell coming from the play-ins being forced into Group A with these juggernauts, and that they will be on the outside looking in once the brackets were picked, and we were wrong. And honestly, I'm happy to be wrong in this regard. Damwon Gaming Kia went 6-0 in Group A. No surprise there. Really didn't have much trouble with anybody except for one match with Cloud9. Really giving them a little bit of trouble. But really, that 6-0 is well earned. They are looking absolutely scary. They worry me very much and going into these knockout brackets, but maybe not as much as I think, and I'll get into that in a second. But Damwon Gaming Kia 6-0, the only 6-0 in the entire Worlds this year, the only one to go perfect in their respective group. And your second place finisher, thanks to a tiebreaker, is Cloud9. Cloud9, North American team, comes from the play-ins, goes in and gets 2 sneaky wins to tie, to get into a 3-way tie situation with 2 teams at 2-4, I believe, other than the 6-0 record from Damwon. So Rogue and FunPlus had to play a tiebreaker. The winner of that then played Cloud9, and whoever won that would move on from the group with Damwon. And Cloud9 was the winner. FunPlus was knocked out by Rogue in the first tiebreaker. A massive upset there. I thought Damwon and FunPlus were locks coming out of Group A, and Cloud9 proved me wrong. Their first, let's not forget, they went 0-3 in their first 3 matches. A goose egg in that first set of Group A. All of their success came in the second day of Group A playing, which makes it even more impressive that they're coming out. How far will they go after that remains to be seen. We'll get into the bracket, but your Group A emergence is Damwon Gaming Kia and Cloud9. Moving on to Group B, this one was a little more straightforward. No tiebreakers needed in Group B. Your number 1 team coming out was T1, 5-1, looking very, very strong in every match that they played. Even that one loss doesn't really affect them too much. Number 2, you're looking at Edward Gaming. Edward Gaming looking like an absolute dominant team against most of the teams they played. T1 did give them some issues at one point. 100 Thieves, unfortunately, does not qualify for Group B with a 3-3 record, beating each team once and losing to each team once. I'm sorry, they did not beat T1. Forgive me. They did beat Edward once, and they beat Detonation twice, but they went 0-2 against T1 and then lost to Edward to be on the outside looking in. And then Detonation Focus Me, the highly regarded Japanese team coming out of groups, put up an 0-6. This was the first time a Japanese team got into this stage of Worlds, so an 0-6 is not terribly surprising. I would have liked to have seen a win from them. They did play pretty hard in some matches, but just came up on the losing end every single time. So from Group B, you're looking at T1 and Edward Gaming. Moving on now to Group C. Number 1 in Group C, Royal Never Give Up, or RNG. No surprise there. They are the winners of the Mid-Season Invitational, the MSI, one of the strongest teams in the entire tournament. No surprise that they are coming out 5-2. The big surprise, though, is number 2. That is Hanwha Life Esports from the play-ins, also making the qualifying for the knockouts in Group C. Reason being was the very surprising lack of success or not showing up in Fnatic. Fnatic placing 4th at 1-5, only winning 1 match in groups, which was very, very surprising. With PSG Talon coming in at 3-3, there was a tiebreaker played for that second position, and Hanwha Life took it over PSG. So you're looking at Royal Never Give Up and Hanwha in Group C. And finally, Group D had something I had never seen before in my time watching League Worlds. Every team finished 3-3. Every team in groups, in Group D, finished 3-3. They had a 4-way tie to decide who was going to knockouts, and the way they decided that was Gen G played LNG Esports, Mad Lions played Team Liquid. The winners of those two would automatically qualify, but then would also have to play each other for seeding, whoever would be first or second. So Mad Lions did beat Team Liquid, sending Team Liquid home and making Cloud9 the only NA team or North American team in the World's Knockouts. Gen G did beat LNG and then defeated Mad Lions to be the first overall seed out of Group D, with Mad Lions being second. So, based on that, the bracket, the way it shakes out, looks like this. Royal Never Give Up, that MSI defending champion, will take on Edward Gaming. Gen G will take on Cloud9. T1 will take on Hanwha Life. And Damwon Gaming Kia will take on Mad Lions. And I feel very bad for Mad Lions, strolling Damwon Gaming, the 6-0 Damwon Gaming, straight out of the bracket. That is a tough spot to be in. So that's your bracket for Worlds 2021. That's what we're looking at here leading into the final weekend. First match, like I said, is tomorrow, October 22nd, 8 a.m. We'll have already started by the time this podcast goes out, by the time you're listening to my voice. However, I will say, unlike the group stage where it's best of one, you only get one match per game. This is best of 5. Every single round from here on out is best of 5, so you'll have you'll have at least 3 games to watch every day between now and, Monday, and then that's to get through the first round. The second round is then Saturday and Sunday, and the finals are Saturday, November 6th. All best of 5, all 8 a.m. Eastern time approximately, depending on, different things. So this is where we are. We're on a best of 5. Loser is eliminated. There are no double eliminations here, no losers brackets. If you fall short, you are done. And then we are going to crown ourselves a champion on November the 6th. So based on the results of group stage, based on who made it, and based on the draw, here's what I think is going to happen for the remainder of Worlds 2021. I do think in the first round that despite putting up a very impressive Group B effort, Edward Gaming will lose to RNG, who will move on to face Gen G. I do think this is where Cloud9's run ends. I don't want to say that necessarily, but I feel like Cloud9 is going to be on the outside looking in after this match with Gen G. I just feel like Gen G is the better team, and I think Cloud9, while very good, I feel like the best of 5 is what's going to trip them up. I think Cloud9 actually wins the first one and then doesn't win again. I think Gen G will adjust and send them home. T1 versus Hanwha Life Esports is actually weirdly the closest one to call. I should be calling T1 in a blowout, but something about this Hanwha Life team just keeps impressing me every time I watch them play, especially coming out of the play-ins and making it all the way to the final knockout stage. I am going to pick T1, but I think it's going to be closer than most people expect. And then Damwon Gaming is going to beat Mad Lions. I'm sorry, Mad Lions. I want to root for you. I want to root for the Western teams. I will root for you. No disrespect to DWG Kia. I will root for you in this match, but I just don't think it's happening for you. I think this is the end of your road, just like I think it's the end of Cloud9's road. So based on that, we're looking at RNG versus Gen G and T1 versus Damwon Gaming. Here, I would again pick Royal Never Give Up to beat Gen G and make it to the finals. I do think RNG is a better team. I think they performed better than Gen G did. And I think that they are the best suited for the finals. And from there, this is tough. Do I think T1, if anyone's going to give Damwon Gaming a loss, their first loss of all of Worlds, and it's going to be the one that knocks them out, if there's a team in this bracket that I think can do it, T1 is it in that semifinal. I think T1 has the ability. I think T1 has the strategy. I think T1 has looked very, very good getting to that 5-1 record. 6-0, however, is better. So Damwon is going to be really up there too. But something about this T1 team just tells me that they're going to get around Damwon and take it to the final. So then our final, in my mind, is Royal Never Give Up, the MSI champion, versus T1 with Faker. And I actually am going to pick T1 to be the 2021 League of Legends World Champion, getting one more title for Faker, the most decorated League of Legends player that there is, the most famous League of Legends player that there is. I do think he takes one more home this year as part of T1. Now, obviously, I could see Damwon Gaming winning this. I could see Gen G winning this. I could see RNG winning this. Edward is also very good. I just think RNG is better, and they're going to knock them out early. It's a toss-up bracket. It really, really is. But I'm really, for whatever reason, leaning towards this T1 team to get the job done and bring the trophy back to T1. We'll start finding out tomorrow. First match on the schedule. I do want to go through that real quick. Tomorrow's match is T1 versus Hanwha Life, so we can learn very early if I know what I'm talking about. We get RNG and Edward Gaming on Saturday. We get Damwon Gaming Kia versus Mad Lions on Sunday. And we have to wait till Monday to see the North American team Cloud9 take on Gen G. That's kind of sad. No matchups have been decided for Saturday and Sunday because, obviously, those matches haven't been scheduled yet. The teams have to get in there, but we don't know which side of the bracket is going to go first yet. And then Saturday, November 6th is the big one. So there you have it. That is my League of Legends Worlds 2021 Knockouts preview and group stage recap. A lot of good League of Legends action to be had in the first couple of weeks, and I imagine that's only going to get better as Worlds goes on. All right, moving on now to our second topic of the evening, and that is a major anniversary in the video game scene this week. Yesterday, Thursday, the 21st of October, marked the 10th anniversary of the Nintendo Direct video presentation. October 21st, 2011 was the publishing of the first ever Nintendo Direct, a little baby-style Direct, only 7 minutes long, if you'd believe that, that has now become the gold standard for presenting news directly, no pun intended, to the public. I've taken a trip down memory lane the past couple of days and looked at some of these old Directs, and they are a nice little time capsule. They are a nice little look at how gaming was back in the day and how silly things were, or they allowed themselves to be when they were making these videos. I will say that I have not quite, in my journey looking at these, gotten past any of them, any of the shows where Satoru Iwata was no longer with us. So I haven't gotten past July 2015 yet, and I feel like a lot of the inherent silliness, a lot of the giddiness, a lot of the happiness, a lot of the upward feeling that I got from watching these is because of him. I feel like he had a big part in the silliness. I feel like he had a big part in the longevity of the Nintendo Direct, thanks to the way he chose to present it. So props to you, as always, Mr. Iwata. We miss you every day. We miss seeing you talking about Nintendo. And, yeah, so it was just a different time and a lot more silly people. But there are some interesting, notable Nintendo Directs to talk about as we go through the list of all the ones that happened. The first ever Nintendo Direct devoted to just one game. Technically, that distinction belongs to the Nintendo Direct Mini on July 18th, 2012, which was concentrated solely on brain age concentration training in Japan. The first one to ever air in North America, specifically for one single game, was the October 2nd, 2012 Nintendo Direct Mini, focused solely on New Super Mario Bros. 2. 2012 was kind of a weird year. It was the first year they ever did it. 2011 into 2012 was the first year they ever really did it. Plus, they had the launch of the Wii U happening in 2012, which is kind of why they did this. It was more of a vehicle to get more eyes on Wii U and its upcoming titles, not having to wait until everybody was together in the same room. They started filming their own skits. They started filming their own locations, whether it be a studio that they have or even the office buildings themselves a couple times. Just an interesting dynamic that they had going on in the early going. They had announcements like Animal Crossing New Leaf. They had an entire direct just about the Wii U interface and Miiverse leading up to the launch of the Wii U. They had a pretty strong pre E3 direct that focused solely on Wii U's built-in software right before the Nintendo Direct at E3 that year. So, the not the Nintendo Direct at E3, the stage show that they had at E3 that year. 2013, obviously, a major turning point for the Nintendo Direct. The first time it was ever the only way that Nintendo presented at E3 had foregone the stage show that we were used to and focusing entirely on a digital show. That paid off dividends because that E3's show, much like all of E3, all of 2013 in general, was the best year for Nintendo Directs, calendar-wise, that there is. Pokemon Direct, the first ever Pokemon Direct, was January of 2013, and they followed it up 2 weeks later with an entire Wii U Direct focusing on Wii U games, the Miiverse, the return of the Virtual Console, stuff like that. They then had in February, on Valentine's Day 2013, they had the Nintendo Direct focusing on the Year of Luigi. If you remember when they did that, one of the funniest initiatives they had ever done, the entire Year of Luigi thing with the different games that were coming out and all the costumes. That was great. Very upbeat, high stuff. They actually had a second one in April, getting more into the Year of Luigi. And then right before E3, they had one in May of 2013, getting into some more Wii U and 3DS games. And then all of a sudden, we were at Nintendo Direct at E3 2013. Like I said, the first ever all-digital show. They did no stage show whatsoever. It was all just a Nintendo Direct. But it was one of the most prolific Nintendo Directs ever made. It had Pokemon X and Y, it had Super Mario 3D World, it had Mario Kart 8, it had Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, and it had the debut of Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS, which included the addition of Mega Man from Capcom, a huge crossover coming to Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS, all announced in the June 2013 E3 Direct. Just an absolutely dynamite show from top to bottom, with a lot of great games worthy of the E3 distinction. Just a month later, they exercised the first ever prevalent, maybe not necessarily the first ever, but the first ever truly prevalent shadow drop. The idea of announcing something and then releasing it that very same day. July 2013 was the first time they did that, and it was with Earthbound, the classic Super Nintendo game, coming to Wii U's Virtual Console. They dropped that the same day they announced it in mid-July, and then I played it for the first time because of that shadow drop, so it means a little bit more to me. But that, if anyone asks what the impetus or what the big draw was of having a Nintendo Direct 1 month after E3, that was it. It was getting Earthbound on the digital shelves. You can definitely see as the years go by that the format starts to show its stride, even for directs based on just one singular game, like Wonderful 101 had one on August 9th. Wii Fit U had its own on September 2013. It just kept getting better and better and better and building and building and building. This was a time where they would have one nearly once a month. So they had one in November of 2013 and then one right after it in December of 2013. And then we didn't see one again until February 13th, 2014. And we moved on from there. April 2014, however, is an absolute landmark in Nintendo Directs, thanks to the Tomodachi Life Direct, my pick for the best game-related Direct ever made. Just an absolutely goofy video from back to front, showing off that game's quirks in a beautiful, beautiful way, and I absolutely loved it. The first ever Super Smash Bros. Direct was 2014, 2 days before the Tomodachi Life one, to be specific. We then had the 50 Fact Extravaganza for Smash Bros. Wii U. We had the E3 Direct. Actually, no, the 50 Fact Extravaganza was October 23rd, 2014, so we're past E3 2014, which had E3 2014's Direct had one of the best little skits of all time in Iwata and Reggie fighting each other, pretending to be the Mii fighters who were coming to Super Smash Bros. Absolutely loved that. Would love to know who shot it. Would love to have been a part of that. Very, very cool. We move into 2015, and we get a couple of interesting reveals, like Splatoon for the first time. We see new Nintendo 3DS for the first time, the new Nintendo 3DS for the first time. We see a DLC Direct for Super Smash Bros. That revealed Roy and Ryu, I believe, and Mewtwo. Oh, no, sorry, Lucas, Roy, and Ryu from Street Fighter. Digital event at E3 2015 was a hit. That's the one that showed for the first time. Oh, no. The year before showed Breath of the Wild for the first time. 2015 did not do that. And then we were moving on to not seeing a Nintendo Direct again until November of that year. From June to November, a full 6 months of no Nintendo Direct. And November 15 Direct has one of the landmark announcements in Nintendo Direct history. Probably one of the most influential Nintendo Direct announcements of all time. And that is Cloud coming to Super Smash Bros. For 3DS and Wii U via DLC. That was an absolute mind blow of an announcement. One that I will never, ever, ever forget. And one that I still watch to this day. Just an absolute mind blow, with the final video presentation coming a month later, blowing our minds again thanks to Bayonetta. Not quite as much, but still blowing our minds thanks to Bayonetta. And then after 2015, the schedule of Nintendo Directs vastly changed. In 2015 and 2014 and the years before that, we were looking at a video every month almost. Just going through 2015, you had a main one in January, the 14th. You had one solely for Xenoblade Chronicles X, only in Japan, in February. You had one just for South Korea in March. You had one for North America, or for the entire world, on April 1st, 2015. You had that Xenoblade Chronicles one from Japan for America on April 24th. A Splatoon one for the world on May 7th. A Wii U and 3DS one for Japan, May 31st. A 3DS Nintendo Direct Micro on June 1st. The Smash Brothers new content approaching with Ryu, June 14. The E3 digital event, E3 2015, on June 16th. The Nintendo Direct, a main Nintendo Direct that announced Cloud, November 12th, 2015. And then the final video presentation for Super Smash Bros. In December 2015. The years before that were even more packed. 2013 in particular, at one point, had some sort of presentation in 5 different countries, 3 straight days. Monster Hunter 4, November 12th, 2013. A basic one, November 13th, 2013. And then a download one for Japan in 2014. I'm sorry, November 14th of 2013. Starting in 2016, we're looking at maybe 10 videos a month, and that number is getting shorter and shorter and shorter. This is where it starts to morph into the quarterly update, big time, punch you in the face over and over again with these crazy announcements, sort of Direct that we've come to anticipate, we've come to appreciate. There was no Nintendo Direct for E3 2016 because their entire booth was just Breath of the Wild and just people playing Breath of the Wild. A bold choice, but the right one. That booth was fantastic and that demo was amazing. So I completely understand why they did it, but that left us with no core Nintendo Direct from November of 2015 to March 2016. And then from there, from March 3rd, we got a 3DS only Nintendo Direct in 2016, a Animal Crossing New Leaf only in 2016, and now in 2017 we start to get into where we are now. The Switch is coming out soon, in March 3rd of that year, and we start to get into the normal things. So we have a Fire Emblem Direct January 18th. The first post-Switch Nintendo Direct was April 12th of 2017. The Pokemon Direct June 6th showed Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, Gold and Silver for the Virtual Console, Pokken Tournament DX. E3 had a normal one, as it normally did. Splatoon had its own on July 6th of that year. The second ever Nindies showcase was broadcast in August 2017. The first one was February 28th of 2017. That would soon change to Indie World later on, but started as the Nindies showcase. The next big core Nintendo Direct after the one in April of 2017 was September, which focused on games that were coming later that year: Super Mario Odyssey, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. We then saw some more small ones until a mini Nintendo Direct January 11th, 2018, and a big one March 8th. More indie showcases March and May. Went straight to E3 2018, which focused basically solely on Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And now we're looking at, the schedule we've gotten used to. A game-focused Direct in August, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Some more indie highlights. A mobile Direct for Dragalia Lost. A September Nintendo Direct main one. Another game-focused one in the fall. In this case, November 1st for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, before the game came out. A Indie World in December. Another Indie World in March 2019, but that was before, or after, a Nintendo Direct in February of 2019. The Pokemon Sword and Shield reveal on February 27th. Smash Bros. Ultimate DLC, and then we started seeing the Mr. Sakurai Presents from April 16th, 2019, the first one being Joker, and then things started to get more normal from there. And now, it's an absolute juggernaut. Now, whenever they announce a Nintendo Direct, it's appointment viewing. You have to be there to see what Nintendo has going on, has up its sleeve for the coming couple of years, or months, or whatever it is you're actually, depending on when it is you're actually watching, it could be months or years. I feel like if I had to rank like my favorite Nintendo Direct moments of all time, surely the Cloud one, like I said, the 1-2 punch. I mean, all of mine are Super Smash Brothers, so I'm not really a good source on this. The 1-2 punch of Hero and Banjo at E3 2019, the Isabelle reveal September 2019, immediately followed by the Animal Crossing New Horizons teaser. It wasn't called New Horizons at the time, or at least we didn't know it was, but that's when that happened. The most recent Super Smash Bros. One, the final Super Smash Bros. One, where they just revealed Sora and all of his moves. That was an amazing moment. So I think next we have to talk about the impact that Nintendo Directs have had on the industry as a whole. Because back when it first started, Nintendo was the only one that did stuff like this. The first one in October 2011 was 7 minutes long. Now, the ones that are considered mini Nintendo Directs are 20 minutes long, 10 to 20 minutes long. So, this has become a perfect vessel for Nintendo to show us their wares. So much so that other companies are copying it. You have Inside Xbox with Major Nelson. You have the State of Plays from PlayStation. You have websites that are doing it. GameSpot has Play for All. Games Radar has the Future Game Show. IGN has their IGN Summer of Gaming, or whatever it was called. You have other companies just doing like video presentations. Dying Light 2 has done a bunch recently in the lead up to its launch. Halo Infinite has had a couple of like info drops like this. This presentation became revolutionary. It became the gold standard in presenting your games and being able to do so in a way that is a tease for your fans, one that kind of leads them along before it hits them in the face with a big reveal. And I think that the idea of them, I think that they are fascinating. I think that they are awesome, and I think that they are well needed. in this industry, especially right now in the face of a pandemic. But I also don't want the live things to go away for obvious reasons. I want to be able to see people. I want to be able to, enjoy the games with them. I want to be able to talk to people, stuff like that. So I've always been very resistant of the idea of these videos replacing a thing like E3, just because I feel like the person-to-person interaction is too valuable to ever go away. But I can certainly acknowledge how excited they make me when one is being scheduled and how awesome it is that this format has taken hold the way it has. And I hope that more companies will start to do that, or at least partner with the main companies, be it Nintendo or Xbox or PlayStation, and we get more of this format in the future from all of them, because there's nothing really like sitting down to watch Nintendo Direct or a State of Play or whatever it is and have your mind blown by the awesome games that are announced. So we owe a debt of gratitude to the Nintendo Direct and whoever devised it at the time. I imagine it was some mixture of Reggie and Satoru Iwata and Bill Trinen and Shigeru Miyamoto and all those people. Eiji Aonuma probably had something to do with it. But whoever devised that first one started a revolution in the business as far as presenting news directly to the consumer and bypassing the other formats that were being used at the time. And I feel like this is a thing that should continue to happen for the foreseeable future, because Nintendo Directs are awesome, and I will never, ever, ever say otherwise. And finally tonight, we're going to talk about something a little fun. Not that we don't normally have fun here on Cheesesteaks and Controllers, but I want to make sure that the last thing we talked about tonight sends the fans home happy. Something that we can, smile about a little bit or hypothesize about a little bit. Nothing too in the trenches. So, earlier today, on Thursday, October 21st, the first trailer for the Uncharted movie dropped on the official PlayStation YouTube channel and a couple other Twitter feeds and stuff like that. We now have our first official look at Tom Holland as Nathan Drake and at Mark Wahlberg as Sully and everything else that the movie is going to entail. I saw a lot of people talking about how they thought it was going to be garbage and all this other stuff. Frankly, all I need from an Uncharted movie is wit, banter, and crazy drama, and crazy action, and I got all three of those. It looks like they're going to try and recreate the crates coming out of the cargo plane from Uncharted 3, which I'm all about. Anything they want to do like that is awesome. But yeah, I thought it was fine. I mean, I didn't think it was, it didn't blow my doors off, but I didn't expect that to either. It's a video game movie. Remembering where we came from, I'm perfectly fine with this sort of Uncharted movie. But it got me thinking. What franchises that are out right now, what gaming franchises would make for good movies or television? What games that people are playing and loving at the moment that don't already feel like a movie, sorry God of War, you're not on this list for that reason, could then translate to the silver screen, be it the television or feature film version of it, and do the video game industry justice. And I have a couple of ideas that I'm going to run by you to end the show tonight. Some of them are, expected, basically because the movies are the games, are pretty cinematic as it is. So translating them to film with a good coherent story shouldn't be all that difficult. While others might surprise you, might come out of left field and have you be like, what are you talking about? So the first one is on the level of like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, one of those big things where a bunch of different characters are coming from a bunch of different places, and that's really all I have to say before I think you understand where I'm going with this. Super Smash Brothers should be a movie. You already have Sonic the Hedgehog's franchise, second movie's coming out soon. Super Mario from Illumination with Chris Pratt as Mario is on its way next year. Let's get some more Nintendo characters out in Hollywood and get us a Super Smash Brothers feature film. I don't know what it would be about. I don't know what the parameters would be. I imagine the hand would be involved somewhere, but I feel like this is a very interesting idea for some sort of larger video game cinematic universe. Just put it Super Smash Brothers. You already have all these characters available to you. I think that would be a lot of fun, and it would be best as like a 2-hour movie. I don't think it needs to be, or however long the movies leading up to the crossover would be. I really don't think it needs to be too complicated. I think it just needs to be fun, and you have Super Smash Brothers doing wily antics in a 2-hour, probably animated movie for kids and adults alike. So that's the first one. Super Smash Brothers as a movie, yes, please. The second one I think works better as a TV show, whether it's a limited series on something like HBO Max or a full order run, and that is Horizon. I think Horizon, Zero Dawn, and hopefully Forbidden West after it would make for excellent television. And you could build the episodes the same way that you build the actual story. You could have fights against the giant mechanical monsters, showing off what that game is. A perfect candidate for a movie, for a TV show, feature length or miniseries, whatever. And if you've never played that game, the reason would being is once you find out what Zero Dawn is, like why that name is in the title, why those two words together are so significant, the story just cranks it up to 11. And I would love to see that reveal happen in a TV setting. So Horizon Zero Dawn or Horizon Forbidden West hopefully has a good story enough. But I think both of that entire franchise could certainly hold a TV series, be it a 10 episode or a full run, without question. That's my idea. That's a great idea. Next one, again, another pretty obvious one. Has a lot of source material that you could go through, a lot of different ways you could branch that story via the modicum of movies or TV, and that's Mass Effect. This is another one that I think would be served better as a series, a TV series, or at least a major film franchise with multiple sequels, just because those games are so dense that I don't really know how you could cut it off in just one film. So I think Mass Effect would have to be multiple seasons of a show, multiple movies, what have you. You could probably maybe do the first film, second film, third film as their own movies, but that would be a lot of content. We're talking probably 3 hours of content each movie. We're getting the Lord of the Rings trilogy territory as far as length of movie. That might be too much. Maybe a couple seasons of a show would be better, like the first season is the first game, second season, second game, whatever. And then the writers, directors could play with that how they wanted to. Mass Effect, definitely worthy of a TV or movie at some point. If Star Wars can do it, Mass Effect can do the space opera too, just with a lot more big, angry machines that glow red. Next one kind of already is a movie, technically, just by the way that it's presented in its promotional material. That's Overwatch. I feel like Overwatch is basically a Pixar-level film as it is if you watch all of those backstory trailers. And even the first trailer when it was announced for the first time ever. I feel like those just take those, make them scenes in a film, and voila, there you go. Throw some interaction between all the characters in, throw some big battle scenes, all that stuff. And you have a movie. Like, they're already halfway there. They just need to find somebody to write them all together, make it coherent, and then you have your full-length film. You can also have like an all-star cast of people voicing them, or you can just bring in the voice actors from the game itself. However you'd want to do that. I think I would prefer the voice actors from the game itself. It's not like Super Mario, where Mario didn't have a voice. Well, he has. Sorry, let me take that back. Mario absolutely has a voice, but it's not. Charles Martinet is not, unfortunately, as much as I like the guy, a household name. So I understand the desire to try and give somebody else that role. Overwatch, you wouldn't have to do that, I don't think. So Overwatch becoming a movie in the animation quality of the trailers that we've seen is a great idea, and I think you should do it. And finally, this is the one that's going to be a bit of a curveball. I have been campaigning that this game, would make an excellent feature film for years. I have said it for literal years, since I played it for the first time in 2008, I want to say. And the way that the story, develops, the way it unfolds, the characters that you meet, the things that happen, has stuck with me for so long. Because I know that in the right hands, the right writer's hands, this game could make for a fantastic 2-hour film. That's Hotel Dusk, Room 215. Now, if you're not familiar with Hotel Dusk, it is a 2006 release on the DS, Nintendo DS, where it played out it was like a narrative story where you were looking for clues and talking to people and getting dialogue and finding things out about certain people. Eventually, you would confront them with your facts, and you had to pick the right decisions to advance the story. Very text-heavy, very dialogue-driven, very much a book you can play for people, that people like to say, to its detriment. But the story is wonderful. I love every single thing about it. I love the characters in it. I love the twist at the end. I love the explanation of, Kyle Hyde's, the main character's, his backstory, his anxieties. I just feel like it could be a very good detective noir sort of film. I wouldn't change anything. Maybe contemporize it a little bit, but I can't help but think, but in the right hands, that this could be an excellent movie, or even a miniseries, like a Mayor of Easttown style 7-8 episode series inside this Hotel Dusk, Room 215. You might need to change the name. I think it's a little bit too lengthy of a name. My idea would be, the main crux, for those who haven't played it, is when you get to this hotel, you hear an old wives' tale about Room 215, that if you stay in that room while you're at the hotel, any wish you want will be granted. They call it the Wish Room. That, I think, is your name, Wish Room. And then you take the story and you develop it from there. I really do think that would be an excellent movie, and I think that more people need to play it to get on board. Unfortunately, the only thing it's on is DS or 3DS. It's not available digitally. You have to find a copy if you still have the 3DS at all. If you do it, because it's wonderful and worthy of a play, and then you'll see what I mean. And if there's a writer out there who's listening to this who could adapt it into a screenplay, and, you're better than me, I could probably make something coherent, but I've never written a screenplay before. It's just not my style. It's not my thing. I would need someone to help me with that. But if it happens, I'm telling you, it's going to be a fantastic movie or TV show. It's going to knock people dead. It's going to be one of those great one-time things that people really love. And I feel like with strong performances and good writing, that story could be adapted into an excellent movie. More than really any other game that I've played. Obviously, there are other games worthy of movies, but that one right there continues to stick with me, that would be a fantastic feature-length film or TV show. And with that, we are at the end of episode 70 of Cheesesteaks and Controllers. Another week down, inching towards the 75 milestone. My name is Jason Finelli, and I am the Esports and Gaming Insider for Fox PHL The Gambler, 102.5 FM, 1480 AM, iHeartRadio, and wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, or anything similar to those. I am always grateful that you listened to this week, my incoherent, sometimes ramblings about video games and esports. I hope you learned something today. If not, I hope you were at least entertained. If you already knew all of these things, congratulations to you. I don't think I've ever told anybody about Hotel Dusk being a great movie. So if you already knew that, then obviously we're on a very good wavelength together. And I hope that you have an excellent weekend. I hope that you have an excellent week behind it. And we will be back again next week, as we always are, talking about video games, talking about esports, talking about everything in between. Thank you so much for listening. Please stay safe, and I will talk to you again next week. Goodbye.